Hey, Scarco here. I wanted to take a little time to make a video the day before the PlayStation players arrive. And I realized over time that part of the reason I make these videos isn't for people to watch them, but it's actually for myself to go back and watch and see what was going on at a certain point in time and see what I was thinking about at a certain point in time. So, anyways, here we are in Aquatopia. I'm going to just walk around and look at different sites, places I go currently in the game before everything changes, so I have some idea kind of what it was like. Um, I managed to finish my house. It took several sleepless nights to be able to get it done in time before the players showed up, but it was kind of one of my personal goals I had set. And so I guess the first thing I talk about is why I came back to the game. I get asked that a fair bit. It's a pretty good question considering in terms of how I left. I think the best answer I've come up with is that I didn't want to miss out. And I'm kind of curious to see what happens. I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into the game, making the game, helping to grow the player base at different points in time. And, I started to see the ads talking about it. And eventually I decided that, I wanted to be here, regardless of the kind of qualms I might have with the game. I wanted to see what happens in the end, or at launch. Maybe not the end, we'll see. And so I kind of decided, that I was going to participate. And so I decided to. And I still have mixed feelings, to be honest with you. I'm still very angry about cash for plots. I still think it's a huge problem. And I think if you understand how this game works at the higher levels, you already understand where it's going. But that being said, that doesn't mean that I don't want to participate, and I don't want to see what happens when everyone finally does show up, or if they show up, or how this all turns out. So it's pretty exciting, and it seems like a fun time. That they wiped it. It really is going to 1.0. Like, I used to joke about 1.0 would be forever, but they're deciding, hey, this point in time, this game it's there. So I'm just kind of curious to see how people react and what goes on. Let's see. The reason I got back in was, I saw the ads about the game, and it looked pretty exciting to see, hey, they're going to launch it. And I was like, I'm kind of curious. See how this goes. And it really was cool because I showed up on day 2 after the wipe had occurred. So maybe 24 hours after people had started playing in the New Worlds. And it was interesting because when I showed up, there was like a real fever pitch in the air to get things built and get them built really fast. In fact, I believe I landed by totem somewhere right about here. And I remember walking over to Mobe's place, which was under construction. He was creating this like temporary shop at the time, and just kind of seeing it. And there was a real fever pitch. People were trying to build things really, really fast, and the rate at which things came back online was pretty extraordinary. I think it was like Portal Seekers had the functioning network of all the planets back up in just 3 days, which is incredible considering Conduit. The requirements for Conduit have gone way up, not to mention hunting has been nerfed, so that took quite a few people working together to pull that off that fast. So that's pretty cool. So it was a really fun time. I remember seeing like desert swords all over the ground and literally just not being able to resist constantly picking them up because at the time, they were everywhere. But instinct had taught me grab the leaf, fibrous leaf, because it had been so scarce for so long. And in a weird twist of events, because generation's kind of a little bit wonky, that was actually a smart move, but at the time it didn't look like it. It looked like we were just being crazy. So anyways, and I talked to some of my friends, and they said honestly, like the first 3 days after the wipe were probably some of the most fun that they've had in the game, and they're right, it was a really special time, and it's something that's not going to happen again probably. So best to enjoy it while you can. Um, and here's Vaf's new place. I ran into him shortly after I got back. I was happy to see him. The thing that was interesting about Aqua Embassy or whatever you want to call it is that this time around, like a lot of power sellers and a lot of power shopkeepers all moved in, which is weird. I guess the balance has changed slightly, so it's advantageous to be here in person versus through portals. I remember the last video I made was all about how portals change the game. Well, footfall and mechanics and some of the modifications they've tweaks have made it very advantageous to be in a large city now. So like Vaf's here, Omni's here. What is it? I think the concrete shop, which is just over there, it's just a place I go shopping periodically. Price checking is over there. And it really pulled the player base into more definite cities. So that's an interesting change. And then when I got back, I got to work at doing all the fun stuff I wanted to do. I rebuilt my house, which was, of course, a goal right off the bat. I built it on 3 other worlds previously in other iterations of the game, and so, of course, I wanted to have it ready in time for 1.0. And then after I did that, I've started working on building roads. It's kind of like we're walking on right here. I've never dealt with building much in the way of roads, but I've historically never been in a city at which the mechanics were advanced enough where that even mattered until now. So I'm having kind of fun learning about that process. And then I've been stockpiling prestige because prestige wars are coming. And one day I hope I might be a mayor of a world, but we'll see. And then of course the other thing is that I've been spending a fair bit of time outside the actual game itself. I'm preparing kind of the world to put online for the master package I have, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. I've been keeping a lot of it secret. I haven't posted any screenshots of what I'm doing because I really do want it to be a big shock and surprise. I guess if you're watching this, it's cool. I'll tell you a little bit. It is another iteration of Keyford, except drastically improved over the first and second versions. It incorporates elements of both of those if you were one of the few to actually see both of them before, back at that point in the history of the game. And it's just amazing. There are custom trees that look fantastic in it now. I have varying heights, so you can build where it really looks like a cave surrounding you all the way, kind of similar to 1. I have big open sky spaces for tall builds, like in Keyford 2. I improved the coloring. Most of the key shape and structure is similar to Keyford 1, but with varying sizes in the gaps in the cave structures. So I think people are just going to be blown away. I'm planning to do a video with a trailer with music and cutscenes and editing when I actually, if I should say, that does come to fruition and that comes online. So kind of excited about that. And the other thing I've been doing is catching up with old friends. It's always good to see people and kind of talk to people that I haven't seen for a little bit. We've had fun playing through the game all over again. It's kind of interesting being... I think it's the first time I've ever been truly like starting out from scratch again. I mean, it's been a long time since I haven't had at least some of the assets to begin with. But managed to get through it, and it was a really fun time, and I've really had a good experience with it. So, and then some of my friends, some of the people that we were playing with truly are gone, and a lot of them have not come back, and that's kind of sad because I miss some of those people, and they were good to play with as well. So kind of what brought, going back to kind of my curiosity about what's going to happen at this point, it may be good, might be bad, but we'll see. I guess I should start out with kind of the good and the optimistic the side of things, and then go to the pessimistic. So on the optimistic side of things, I got to record this if nothing else. I love this place. This was this was the proving ground that really demonstrated what a large number of users could do to world reach in. Yeah, we tore it up, and a fair bit of this was me harvesting resources myself. I mean, this used to be ground. There were desert swords here when we started. They're going to patch this, I think, like Friday, probably when the PlayStation people arrive, and so I want a screenshot of it before so we can remember this, because there was a fair bit of joking that went on about this exit node in the Portal Seeker network before the official release. And excuse me. Where was I? Oh yeah, the optimistic case. So I got a screenshot from somebody, and there were about 14. I counted up the total number of backers officially from a screenshot of the dev website before it was taken down. And in the screenshot, I counted up about 14,000 backers in total. And excuse me. So there's potentially 14,000 people that backed the game. So that's people that bought it on PC from the developers themselves, not counting the people that bought it directly from Steam. Now, I read another news article from VentureBeat, and on VentureBeat they were reporting that Steam Spy was reporting, which is like a website that aggregates data from the API, that the total number of PC owners on Steam was at about approximately 29,000. So there's that. And then Boundmore posted on the forums that he had it from a quote reliable source, and he gave a very precise number for the combined sales being about 37,000. You can go look it up on the forum post. But I'm inclined to believe that because it kind of lines up with the other data that we've gathered so far. And so realistically, there's potentially like 37,000 people, like 11,000 of which would be PlayStation based on those numbers. And so if 11,000 people show up on Friday, that would be quite the sight. Because unlike the PC version, none of the PlayStation people have gotten to play this game the whole time, but they've bought it. So they're a little bit more motivated to all log in. So I'm really kind of interested to see how that goes. Oh, there's that cathedral over there. I want to go hit that up. And so that's kind of the optimistic case. And, a lot of the fanboys think that that's going to happen. And, deep down, I kind of really hope it does, to be honest with you. I'd really like the game to succeed wildly. But one of the devs made a really strange post where they were kind of actually trying to tone down or reduce expectations, or try to reassure people that development would continue regardless of the outcome, I guess I should say more accurately. And that was kind of strange because I even replied to them and said, this doesn't make any sense. Like if you're not going to grow the player base, when, how, where, with what? So that was it. That was kind of disheartening some, because I really do hope that the game succeeds wildly, personally. Which goes to the pessimistic case. And the pessimistic case has been made by several doomsayers, and they're not without merit in what they're saying. And their argument is, look, the player base is going to, the number of players is going to go up, yes, but it's probably going to go right back down in a short period of time. And the people that are playing the game today are likely to be the people playing the game in the future, which, historically has been, I don't know, there's like 70, maybe 200 some odd people that are pretty active. And so their thought is it'll go up, then back down, and then it'll just kind of flatline at that point, and we'll have what we have. And there are pros and cons of that too. I mean, the larger the community, the more problem people you have to deal with. the smaller the community, the more you can manage, the fewer people there are. But this is really designed to be a massive game, meaning thousands of people playing the game. It was designed to be extremely scalable too. Um, and that's I think, one of the most impressive things is the technological design of this game, which most people unfortunately don't get and don't appreciate. How incredible what they've built really is, just from a piece of software perspective, and how it operates and functions. Oh wow, I haven't seen these like 5 high doors. That is awesome. Surprised you learned something new. Cool. Oh wow. So anyways, the Doomsayers. Yes, yes. Doomsayers say goes up, goes back down. They have a whole bunch of planets, not a lot of people. But to be fair to them, that's kind of what happened in the past with the first Steam release back in pre-alpha, and also kind of what happened during the. It wasn't a Kickstarter backing. It was because it wasn't through Kickstarter, but essentially when they did the early access backing, I guess you'd say initially, there was a big boost, and then the numbers began to dwindle. But I think that had more to do with the absence of features. At this point, the game really is quite feature-rich, and so I think we'll get a much better sense of what people think and what they like doing in the game this go around. Let me see. And personally, I still kind of wonder about the plots issue. Like, it's in the back of my mind. Like, we're going to see whether it is a problem for the game, right? We'll know through reviews. It appears from the forums, if we take at least the mob's view, I certainly was in the minority on that issue. And based on the fact that the player count hit maximum all-time high very recently, back when they flipped the switch on the new worlds, I don't know if that's really going to be that big of an issue like I thought it would be. But, we'll wait and see. So I had taken off work from the 11th because I wanted to be here to watch it, and not so much play the game on that day, but just kind of be here when it happens, see what goes on, who's right, who's wrong, what really occurs, and just kind of witness it all occur. So I'm gonna have like I didn't know, because they had stripped all reference to the pre-order sale. With that going away, it kind of like I thought that the pre-order launch stuff was gone. So then when it did surface again for just the PlayStation people on Friday, I was kind of taken back and was, oh, they really are doing this. Wow, this is a big deal. Because I thought that it wasn't going to happen. And so now that it is, unfortunately, I'm probably going to be at work when one of the biggest batches of people show up. But I am going to still be watching at work and, keeping tabs open on Steam chart and Steam reviews to kind of see the progress of it. Oh, Steam reviews won't do me anything. Actually, neither of those sites will do me any good on Friday, because we don't really have a way of seeing how many people are logged into the game with the PlayStation people. So just have to kind of eyeball it and see what happens. Get shot up, of course. What better way to die than on camera? So but on the 11th, I'm going to be off from work, and I'm going to be I'll be at home watching the two things, Steam charts for player count, and then also reviews to see kind of what goes on, and then log into the game because I want to walk around, and if there really are thousands of people all on the game at once, I'd like to see that. I think it'd be a really cool sight to see. So, yeah, I think that was a good chunk of it. There was Portal Seeker, Sunken City, Aquatopia. Those are most of the places I go these days. I showed you Fim. That's where I spent a lot of my early days in the new game, rebuilding. Yeah. So that's most of it. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing what's happening, and we'll find out how it goes. I'll see you guys in the future.